Welcome to our latest adventure. Today we explore Hildibrand, Agent of Inquiry, from A Realm Reborn, Part 3.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Eorzean Archons. I'm FaZe.
And I'm Catherine.
This video will cover the Hildibrand, Agent of Inquiry quests up to the battle in the Big Keep trial.
There will be no spoilers in this video after the A Realm Reborn expansion.
Remember to subscribe and click the bell icon if you'd like to be notified of future videos.
Let's get started. FaZe, what's the sitch?
Hey Kat, we got a hit on the site from Ellie asking to meet us again regarding the Man of 1,000 Faces. Maybe she has a clue as to what the fourth treasure of Belladia is.
No big. We'll catch him this time. I can do anything.
Oh, all on your own then?
FaZe, I couldn't save the world without you.
Then it looks like we're off on another adventure. Ellie tells us our good friend, the Phantom Thief, has turned to violence. Rumor has it that 3 victims have already been murdered. And to add to it, they were all influential members of the Uldan Society. His calling card was left behind reading, "The weight of 5 corpses will bring the scales of justice to balance." Ellie doesn't seem to mind though and thinks this is a juicy story for the Mithril Eye, but our concern is for the safety of Ulda's people. She needs to sort out her priorities. Perhaps Wyman can lend some information on the situation.
Wyman informs us that the Sultan's sworn personal guards of the Sultana are very worried of the Phantom Thief's threat. They've apparently bolstered their numbers and posted the best and the brightest to guard the royal vaults. He suggests that we head to the Heart of the Sworn to ask about the reinforcements.
Though it isn't the best and brightest we find there. Halting our entrance to the Heart of the Sworn, we find good old Humphrey, the guy who lied about being the Warrior of Light and lost someone else's sword to Gilgamesh. He recognizes us and claims to have changed his ways for the better. Wanting to assist the friends of his hero Hildibrand, Humphrey lets us speak with Phyllis. She's the Sworn's best and brightest, and has stepped forward to help with her own investigation of the 4 relics of Belladia.
Phyllis is excited to meet us, along with Ellie, as she's a big fan of the Mithril Eye. But before we can chat about the thief, Briarden finds his way over. He asks that we stand still for a moment and... What the heck? What's your problem? Briarden throws demasking dust on us, a formula of his own devising that can supposedly demask our thief when we find him next. Our only problem is how rare the ingredients are to make the dust. We have a limited supply, so we'll have to pick our targets carefully and not go around throwing dust on each other. Ugh, I want to throw some dust at Briarden, see how he likes coughing it up.
There's no sense in throwing any dust on me. No one can hope to replicate my perfection.
I doubt anyone would be able to replicate Hildibrand's particular charm either, so perhaps you have that in common.
Back to the task at hand, we ask Phyllis about the 4 treasures. She's a history buff, but says she knows nothing more than what the old prophecy states. When darkness falls and hope fades to despair, 4 warriors born of light shall descend the righteous glare. We have the descriptions of the 4 relics, but nothing of appearance or nature. As a precaution, the Sultan's Sworn have locked up all Belladian artifacts in the royal vault, and the guards have all been given a supply of demasking dust. But with all the guards, well, guarding the vault, Phyllis could use our help in figuring out how the recent murders are related.
Did someone ask for help? In comes Hildibrand and Nashu, late to the party again. Briarden throws some demasking dust on Hildibrand, and is disappointed to discover he is still in fact Hildibrand. Phyllis welcomes Hildibrand and recounts what we know so far about the victims. The 3 murdered individuals include the head of a publishing consortium, a high-ranking government official, and an influential scholar. Outside of them all being influential people in their respective circles, there's nothing else tying them all together. With little to go off of, we take a spare bag of demasking dust and head out to look for more clues. Hildibrand asks if we'll be auditioning to be his assistant in this case, but then informs us that the position is already filled. Instead, he declares that we can be his ever-loyal associate instead. Did we just somehow get demoted? Will there be a pay cut?
You're getting paid? What?
I declare that we are now in charge and Hildibrand is our assistant.
Now, Hildibrand, tell us what you've discovered.
If it's not useful, you're fired.
Turns out, Hildibrand has some useful information for us and did some actual investigating. The scholar's body was found not far from the 80 sins of Sasimo. We'll tag along for now, Hildibrand, but that doesn't make us your associates. Upon reaching the supposed spot of the murder, we find flowers on the ground. Placed by a loved one of the deceased, an older woman stops by to warn us. She claims the murderer would turn us into a zombie, just like they did her boy. Zombies. Why does it always have to be zombies?
Don't worry, FaZe. If you turn into a zombie like Hildibrand, I'll just throw some bombs at you like Nashu did. She tells us the horrors of Sil'dih, a sibling nation to Ul'dah in which a bloody war was waged long ago. The Sil'dih alchemists found a way to turn the living into the undead, and used it to command an army of zombie soldiers. Our murderer must be of Sil'dih ancestry to know such a recipe. It is at this point that the old woman begins cackling to herself about how her son should have never studied the Sil'dih, and how the phantom thief might actually be a real phantom. With that nonsense, she runs off. Meanwhile, bald man Elazar is off looking for Hildibrand, upset that his hair tonic has worn off.
Now convinced that our phantom thief is a true spectral phantom, Hildibrand suggests we learn as much as we can from the Thaumaturge Guild and what could be ailing our ghost. Realizing Kat is uncomfortable around so many Lalafels, we quickly ask some historians about the nation of Belladia. They tell us of the 5th Astral Era, when arcane arts allowed great civilizations to flourish. However, the Enlightenment was cut short as power and greed bred violence, leading to the War of the Magi and the 6th Emerald Calamity. The mages that survived the flooding left their homelands as outcasts and found their way to Thanaland, where they founded the nation of Belladia some 8 centuries ago.
The Belladians flourished in relative peace until twin sons were born to the royal family. When their father died, the two twins fought over who was the rightful heir to the throne. Agreeing to disagree, they split Belladia in two, creating the two nations of Ul'dah and Sil'dih. These nations would come to rival each other to the point of all-out war. Ul'dah had the far superior military, but Sil'dih employed advanced alchemical knowledge to transform their citizens into a fearsome undead legion. Despite the zombies, Ul'dah emerged victorious, leaving Sil'dih in ruins. But history is written by the victors. One can only wonder what the Sil'dih point of view may be.
We take our findings to Hildibrand, who thinks our next course of action should be to get the mad scientist who created the zombie formula to apologize to our phantom thief. Only problem is, he's long dead. With the gang reassembled, Ellie brings us a new lead, a traveling merchant by the name of Guguria, who apparently knows something important about the murdered victims.
We make for Horizon to catch the merchant, but he's not the friendly sort. As we try to get some information, Lady Dorilda finds us. She was buying a namesday present for her daughter from Guguria, and tells him the deal is off if he doesn't help us. An odd stroke of luck. Thus persuaded, Guguria tells us all he knows. Turns out the thief has some of Sil'dih's zombie dust, the traitor's spurn.
As for the 5 victims the thief mentioned in his calling card, he must be referring to the Arbiters of Truth. This secret society kept fake news about the Ul'dah-Sil'dih conflict from becoming public knowledge. This group is so secretive that they don't even know who the other members are. With this, Guguria has said too much. He tells us that if we want to know more, we should ask Hob, a known member of the Arbiters of Truth who's setting sail for Limsa right now, for fear that he may be turned into a zombie next.
On our way over to Vesper Bay, we run into a zombie over top a fallen guard. It's Hob. Briarden asks us to take him out, as we're expert zombie killers by now. As we inspect the body, Hildibrand suspects someone is watching us. Seeing as time is no longer on our side, we decide to report back to Phyllis. Meanwhile, Ellie and Nashu will go back to the Mithril Eye to begin a report on our findings.
I'm glad Nashu is willing to go with Ellie. These streets ain't safe.
It's the only reason I put up with traveling with you sometimes. If the zombies come, I just have to run faster than you.
No fair, you have Peloton. As we arrive back at the heart of the Sworn, Phyllis asks us about our investigation. Before we get the chance to tell her of the murder, a shriek cries out from the vault. The voice is unmistakably Ellie's. As we rush to the scene, we find Ellie on the ground, backed away from a fallen guard. She claims to have approached him to ask a few questions, but was quickly assaulted. In self-defense, Ellie bashed her attacker on the head with a mead bottle. She says Nashu saw a shady figure from afar during the encounter and chased after them.
Phyllis notes the guard is in uniform, but the face is unfamiliar. A little of the unmasking dust reveals the guard to be none other than the man of 1,000 faces. Case closed. Roll credits. Bragging that he closed the case so easily, Hildibrand goes to return his bag of unmasking dust to Phyllis, but slips on the mead bottle on his way over. As he falls, the bag explodes over the attacker, revealing another face. A double mask, surely meant to throw us off. Phyllis recognizes this face as the guard she assigned to the vault. He's a good guy, and was well equipped with the unmasking dust. So how was the thief able to sneak up on him?
Hildibrand speaks up, this time in a serious tone. He suggests our thief didn't need to wear a mask. They've been hiding in plain sight this whole time. We look around to notice Ellie is missing. Hildibrand says it all makes perfect sense. Ellie rised in the ranks of the Mithril Eye because of this story. Not wanting the story to end, she hatched a plan to simultaneously put on the show of thievery while following our every move and staying one step ahead. I'm not sure we agree on the specifics, but before we can speculate, Humphrey rushes in to report the Wise Man's Whisper has been taken from the vault.
Overlooking our confusion, a shadowy figure watches from the shadows, and overlooking them is Gilgamesh, plotting his triumphant return. As for Nashu, she chased what she thought to be another shadowy figure into the back street. It's here that Nashu was knocked out by our masked thief, taking on the appearance of Nashu herself. Seems as though she still has a few tricks up her sleeve.
Hildibrand seems to think that if we confront Ellie, we can convince her to abandon this fool plan. Phyllis has already alerted the guard to search for Ellie, and to complicate matters, Phyllis tells us she knows who the fifth member of the Arbiters of Truth is. Turns out, it's none other than Phyllis. She was given an anonymous letter detailing her duties to prevent the spread of historical lies that would sully the name of our illustrious nation. She was chosen as a high-ranking officer in the Sultan's Sworn. Hildibrand swears to protect her, as any gentleman would. It's during this conversation that Nashu rejoins the group. She claims to have chased away a shadow, only to find a cute little dormouse. Hildibrand turns to us and says that he senses we're being watched. As such, we should split up and search for clues.
We find a few water-stained letters reading, "Be wary and be warned. Trust no one, and your friends all the less." And, "This will avail you well. Use it wisely." Next to one of the letters, we find some demasking dust, just as someone sneaks up behind us. It's Godbert! As we take a step back for personal space, he tells us that he too senses a suspicious presence in the shadows, which led him here. He asks that we look after his son Hildibrand, fearing he may be in over his head with this case. Godbert believes our thief may still be hiding among us. Given we have one bag of dust left, we should chat with each of them to figure out who is most suspicious.
We rejoin the group to question everyone. Phyllis, afraid of her life, tells us that she'd rather die than be turned into a zombie. The stuttering in her voice seems genuine. Briarden is still lost about Ellie turning out to be the thief, and he's already begun theorizing what else we may be missing. Nashu tells us that Briarden filled her in about Ellie being the phantom thief, and says she's been fooled.
We report to Godbert that nobody here is particularly suspicious, though, unbeknownst to us, the thief disguised as Nashu is beginning to sweat, thinking of how to get out of the situation. Hildibrand comes back from questioning the Sultan's Sworn outside, informing us that nobody has seen Ellie leave. He's also shocked to see his father here. Briarden jumps into the conversation, stating that if nobody has seen Ellie since the vault incident, then she must be hiding amongst one of us.
She couldn't possibly copy the idiocy of Hildibrand, so that limits our options to those here that could have been caught alone recently. The guards will be returning soon with their report, and the remaining unmasking dust to spare. So long as we wait it out, we can try it out on everyone here. This timer puts our thief on edge.
Hildibrand sees no need to wait, for through his powers of deduction he will name the thief now. He goes on to say that Ellie only impersonated those she spent time with eliminating Godbert. In his mind, this limits the options to us, Nashu, and somehow himself. Given the close relationship he has with Nashu, he'll start with questioning her.
She of course earns a perfect score on what has to be the easiest test I've ever heard. For a second, Nashu turns away to cringe at what she just said, but Hildibrand picks up on the awkward cue, saying she needn't turn away, even if she has picked up a few extra wrinkles underneath her eyes. Wrinkles? Nashu explodes in anger back at Hildibrand. After a pause of awkward silence, Briarden tells Ellie the jig is up. With a nod, he signals us to throw unmasking dust at our thief, revealing her true identity. Miss Ellie. Wait, what? Who's this?
Turns out our secret imposter is not Ellie, but a Huron woman that bears a striking resemblance to her. She taunts us and admits that yes, she looks similar because Ellie and her are sisters and partners in crime. She claims to be the wearer of 1,000 faces, but she bears only one name, Cece. She also claims to not be a ghost, but she and her sister are the last living scions of the Sil'dih aristocracy. Well, this explains how our thief and Ellie have been in the same room at the same time. Ellie was the informer, and Cece the performer.
Hildibrand asks her what it is they seek from all of this. She responds saying that they seek justice for the death of their nation, for she claims that Ul'dah was actually the ones responsible for turning their population into zombies in order to defeat them. The Arbiters of Truth were not meant to stop fallacies, but to stop the truth from being realized. The zombie dust she holds was stolen by her ancestors from the Ul'dah army 4 centuries ago, and they plan to use it on the Arbiters as an act of revenge. The rest of the zombie dust was stolen during the final days of the Ul'dah-Sil'dih conflict and was hidden in a secret magic vault, only accessible by assembling the 4 sacred relics that once resided in the royal palace of Sil'dih.
With her plans revealed, we realize that we may already be too late. Ellie is on her way now to open the vault and release the mass amount of zombie dust on all of Ul'dah. As a last resort, CC pursues Phyllis, the last remaining arbiter of truth, and throws her final sachet of zombie dust at her. A true gentleman, Hildibrand dives in front of Phyllis, taking the blow himself. Hildibrand's face turns gray as he falls to the floor. In the blink of an eye, a figure from the shadows races in and knocks out CC. The shadowy figure we kept sensing was Godbert's wife? With a skillet in hand, she knocks out Godbert too.
I'm both surprised and not that she's Hildibrand's mother.
Yeah, remind me not to upset Rapunzel over there. That frying pan is some weapon.
She looks oddly familiar. Didn't Ultros try to ask her out back at the Colosseum? To add to the confusion, Gilgamesh steps out from down the hall and challenges us to a rematch. As he approaches, Hildibrand's mother clocks him upside the head too. She turns to us. Oh no, I'm not ready to find out who's stronger. With a smile, she tells us that Hildibrand has spoken great things about us to her. She asks that we help her son, since her husband clearly couldn't control the situation.
Julian, Hildibrand's mother, tells us that there is still time to reverse the zombie curse on Hildibrand. We need to make a phial of holy water. She claims the ingredients are simple: a tatter of Oversoul's rag and phial of twice distilled water. She sends us to the market to grab the ingredients while Briarden goes looking for the real Nashu. In an ironic twist, she even commands Gilgamesh to accompany us to the market, who, like us, can't say no to her.
Over in the Sapphire Exchange, we try haggling with our favorite shopkeep to secure the first ingredient, but he's already set aside his stock for a different customer. Unless we can also put up a rare Chimera membrane, we're not going to be getting the goods. In some manner of Hildibrand luck, Avila and her sister happen to overhear us in the market and stop by. Avila just finished her training of slaying 10 Chimera and offers us the membrane we need free of charge. Good to hear she's climbing the ranks again, this time legit. With payment in hand, we exchange the membrane for the first ingredient.
Our other required ingredient can be found with a traveling merchant, one, unfortunately, familiar with the Manderville family business. He's been haggled short a lot of gil from the family and doesn't want to help out, thinking himself happier and wealthier if the family line ended today. Gilgamesh calls him out for being the selfish lowlife he is. From down the hall, Arabella spots us and comes over, asking if we're here for the ball.
It's my future wife, Miss Arabella. Cat, I swear I'll only be like an hour, maybe 3 tops. I have to attend this ball. Hildibrand would understand.
Come on, lover boy, you can dance when we're done saving Ul'dah from zombification. If there's one thing I dislike more than Lalafels, it's zombie Lalafels. No one wants that.
Our trader shows interest in dancing with Arabella as well, who agrees to a dance so long as he gives us the items we seek. He agrees and heads off with Arabella to the ballroom. Crazy Hildibrand luck strikes again, it would seem.
With the items in hand, we rush back to Julian. She whips up the holy water and administers it to her son. She says that he has enough fight in him to make a full recovery. Meanwhile, Briarden returns with Nashu. Well, the real Nashu. He tells us that Ellie has indeed been spotted out by the Sil'dih ruins. Seeing as though time is not on our side, we leave Hildibrand with his mother and lead the rest of the party out to the ruins.
Well, except Gilgamesh, who gets tasked with buying fire crystals to keep Hildibrand warm. He'll have to wait a while longer before he can get that rematch. He notes to Enkidu that Hildibrand and the Warriors of Light have a strong friendship, something Gilgamesh has only known once in his life. For if the real Enkidu was with him, not this green-painted chicken, he'd be unstoppable. As he cries out for Enkidu to return to him, the crystals he bought begin to glow bright, and then vanish. Then a voice calls out, "Fancy meeting you here, old friend."
We make our way out to the ruins of Sil'dih to find Phyllis and a few Sultans sworn overlooking the vault with CC tied up. Phyllis tells us that Ellie is down the road, being very uncooperative. She sits atop the supply of the trader's spurn. Using force to take her would put everyone at risk, so we need to convince her to stand down with words first.
As we call out to our old friend, she warns us to leave this place. She holds no grudge with us, but she's willing to turn us into a zombie if we interfere. Briarden shares his disappointment and tells Ellie that her sister is already in custody. Ellie explains how we'll never understand her position. She and her sister came from nothing, have nothing, and when backed against a wall, their mission comes first. She approaches and holds out a bag of dust in front of her, warning us to back down.
Suddenly, she commands an army of undead. As zombies surround us, Godbert goes hammer time on them, giving us some space. But it's no use, as more and more zombies come crawling in. Ellie mocks us, saying that it's only by Hildibrand's luck that we've gotten this far, and now he's 6 feet under. Gilgamesh warns her not to underestimate Hildibrand, or it'll be her undoing like it was his. She tells us that no splash of holy water can starve off the effects of the traitor's spurn.
Well, at least we tried to save him.
I don't know. Hildibrand survived being shot at Dalamud. Something tells me he'll survive being a zombie a second time.
As she commands her undead army to attack once more, she finds the army unresponsive. Instead, they all assume the Monderville pose. From atop the hill dawns a blinding glow. Humphrey steps up to recite the old tale. When darkness falls and hope fades to despair, 4 warriors born of light shall descend in righteous glare. But the figures atop the hill are not warriors of light. They are gentlemen of light. Hildibrand, agent of enquiry, inspector extraordinaire, makes his triumphant return under the glow of old man Eleazar's bald head.
While any normal man would never recover from the traitor's spurn, Hildibrand spent quite some time building up a zombie powder immunity while he was originally thought dead. Yeah, that makes complete sense. He once again commands the gentle dead men. Hildibrand calls out to Ellie, asking her to stop this madness, for mass murder hardly suits a lady. Ellie drops to the ground defeated. Giving up, she asks Briarden if he had something left to say to her. Briarden reminds her that she said she had lost everything and everyone she had to lose. However, their time was everything to him. You know, before all that mass murdering. He said he cares not how many years it takes. When Ellie is free from her jail cell, he'll be there.
What? Simp.
You're one to talk. Don't you have a ball to attend?
Hey, Miss Arabella is without fault. As we take Ellie into custody, Godbert issues his sincerest apologies for her people on behalf of the Syndicate. He plans to address the truth with Ul'dah about the Sil'dih conflict and not hide it away any longer. Gilgamesh butts in once again to challenge us to a long-awaited rematch. He pulls out the one true Treaty Blade, offering it a prize to the one who could beat him in single combat.
Oh, did he say single combat? Because Gilgamesh will not be fighting alone this time. This time he will fight alongside the real Enkidu. Apparently, when he wished for Enkidu to find him while next to the fire crystals from earlier, he summoned a primal variant of Enkidu. Gilgamesh leaps up to Enkidu's talons and asks we meet him atop Ampidor Keep for our fight. Hildibrand chases after Gilgamesh. Knowing Hildibrand won't get far without us, we follow after to battle as only warriors of light can.
Even with Enkidu, Gilgamesh is no match for us. After running around all minimized and getting blasted into the air as chickens, we finally defeat the Primal and chase down Gilgamesh. Only this time, he's ready for a true test of strength. His Transmogrify spell gives him 6 hands, each with one of his prized weapons. Even with an arms advantage, he loses the rematch. Defeated, he once again begs for forgiveness, asking we spare his life, and in return, he would go get the Treaty Blade for us, once he remembers where he hid it. Seeing as he's not much of a threat, we take him at his word, even though we know he'll cheat again in the future.
As we leave the Ampidor ruins, we meet up with Hildibrand and tell him that the Treaty Blade has been hidden here in the forest and Greg is gonna go get it. While we wait for everyone else to catch up, Hildibrand goes to look for the blade too. When the gang finally does arrive, we tell them of the situation. As we wait for one of the 2 dummies to bring us back the Treaty Blade, Godbert mentions the great craftsmanship of the jewelry Ellie wears.
She notes that it was a relic of Sil'dih, a treasure she found locked away in the vault. When we ask her how she knows so much about the Sil'dih relics and secrets, Ellie tells us that her grandmother gave her and her sister an ancient scroll passed down in their family. It spoke of the 4 warriors of light, 4 relics, and the incantation of untold power. She recites the scroll. The ring casts open the doors of justice. The wise man whispers a verdict true. Azima's virtue shines down from the heavens. And then she says to complete the incantation, a warrior of light would need to hold the Treaty Blade and speak, "Blade in hand, I swear unto you."
As Ellie finishes telling the incantation, Hildibrand comes rushing in, treaty blade in hand, and accidentally finishes the final line of the incantation. As Hildibrand rests the sword on the ground, it begins to react. As it glows and fades, it's clear the blade does not know if Hildibrand is or isn't a warrior of light. But after much confusion, the blade glows bright, accepting the gentleman of light and fulfilling the incantation. A beam of light shoots out from the tip of the sword, launching our agent of inquiry skyward. The gang is amused by the spectacle, once again proving Hildibrand to be a crowd pleaser. As for Hildibrand, rumor has it that way up in the clouds he caught wind of another case. It would seem we haven't seen the last of Hildibrand.
Ooh, yeah. He's your basic average man, and he's here to solve the case. You can't stop him because he's Hildibrand.
There is nothing he can do, and when danger calls, just know that he'll get in the way.
It doesn't matter where or when there's trouble, if you just call his name. He's Hildibrand.
Call him, beep him, if you want to reach him. When you want to punch him, it's okay.
He just can't wait until he has himself a new case.
Doesn't matter if it's day or night, everything will not be alright.
Whenever you need him, baby, call him, beep him if you want to reach him.
Be sure to thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. Click the bell to be notified of future videos.
What did you enjoy or not enjoy about the Hildibrand Agent of Inquiry quests? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching!